Assalamu alaikum, welcome to my channel. In today's video we will discuss the difference between phrase and clause. So let's start our video. A phrase is a group of words without the subject and the predicate. It can't express a complete thought. Now look at this sentence. He is sleeping on the bed. He is the subject and the rest part of the sentence is called a predicate. So basically when we remove the subject, so the rest part is called a predicate. Now what is a phrase? Now look at this sentence, he is sleeping on the bed. Now on the bed is just a group of words. It does not contain a subject and predicate. So this is a phrase, and a phrase can't convey a complete thought. Similarly, in the next example, she is standing in the corner. She is the subject and the rest is called a predicate. Now in the corner is the phrase because it's just a group of words and it does not contain a subject and predicate, and a phrase cannot convey a complete thought. Now what is a clause? A clause is a group of words containing the subject and the predicate. So basically clause is equals to subject plus predicate. Now look at the examples. He laughed, I graduated last year. He is the subject and laughed is the predicate. So clause is equal to subject plus predicate. Now there are two types of clauses, independent clause and the dependent clause. Now independent clause, as the name suggests, is independent. It can stand alone as a sentence. I am feeling well today. I is a subject. I'm feeling well today is predicate. So whenever there is subject and predicate, it makes it a clause. And since it can stand alone as a sentence, so it's an independent clause. Similarly, in the next example, I like him. This sentence can stand alone as a sentence, so it's an independent clause. Now, what is a dependent clause? As the name suggests, it's dependent. It means that it cannot stand alone as a sentence because it always leaves an idea or thought unfinished. It often begins with subordinating conjunctions like although, since, if, when, and because. It's also called a subordinate clause. Now look at the example. If you are ill, you ought to see a doctor. Now in the first part of the sentence, if you are ill, we can see it's a clause because it has a subject and a predicate. But because there is a starter word like if, so it makes it a dependent clause because it cannot stand alone as a sentence. Whereas if you look at the next part of the sentence, you ought to see a doctor. It has a subject, it has a predicate, and it can stand alone as a sentence. So it makes it an independent clause. Now, similarly in the next example, while I was eating, the cat scratched the door. Now, because we have used the word while, so it makes it an a dependent clause, and it cannot stand alone as a sentence. And if we look at the next part, the cat scratched the door. It has a subject and a predicate, and it can stand alone as a sentence. So it means that this is an independent clause. Now, what is the difference between phrase and clause? So a clause contains both the subject and the predicate, whereas phrase does not contain the subject and the predicate. Clause can stand alone as a sentence, whereas phrase cannot stand alone as a sentence because it's just a group of words. Look at the example, she is playing in the field is a clause. And what's the phrase in it? In the field, because it's just a group of words. I hope you liked my video. Thank you.